The unending journey. I always found solace in the rhythmic hum of the wheels against the asphalt, the ever-changing landscapes outside my window serving as a visual symphony that accompanied my travels. But one fateful road trip would shatter my love for the open road, leaving me haunted by an unending journey that transcended the boundaries of time and sanity. It began innocently enough, a cross-country drive to visit family. The sun dipped below the horizon as I navigated the desolate highway, the only sounds being the low purr of the engine and the occasional howl of the wind. It was when the GPS, my trusted navigator, guided me onto a narrow, winding road that the unease settled in. As the road stretched on, the surroundings became increasingly unfamiliar. The trees that lined the path seemed to contort into grotesque shapes, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The moon cast an eerie glow, illuminating a desolate landscape that bore no resemblance to the maps I had studied. I should have turned back, heeded the warning signs, but an invisible force seemed to guide me forward. The road stretched endlessly into the darkness, the headlights of my car illuminating only a fraction of the unsettling path. My phone lost signal, and the car radio emitted only static, leaving me alone with the haunting silence of the night. As the hours passed, a sense of disorientation set in. The same landmarks, twisted trees, dilapidated structures repeated with an unnerving regularity. It was as if I was trapped in a loop, a never-ending stretch of road that defied the laws of geography. Exhaustion crept in, both mental and physical, yet the road showed no mercy. I drove through the night, the monotony broken only by the occasional glimpse of shadowy figures standing at the roadside. They watched with empty eyes, their presence sending shivers down my spine. When the first light of dawn finally broke, I hoped for relief, but the road persisted, stretching endlessly into the horizon. Panic set in as I realized the impossibility of my situation. I had become ensnared in a nightmarish limbo, an unending journey that defied logic. With each passing mile, the road deteriorated further. Potholes became chasms, and the asphalt gave way to a twisted, gnarled path. The air outside the car grew thick with an oppressive energy, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling. The car, once a reliable companion, began to exhibit signs of the road's malevolence, engine sputters, flickering headlights, and a radio that emitted distorted voices. All seemed to conspire against me. I felt like a pawn in a cosmic game, a puppet manipulated by forces beyond comprehension. Days turned into nights, and nights into days, the boundaries of time blurring into a disorienting continuum. Sleep became a luxury I could no longer afford, for fear that the road would consume me in my vulnerability. I encountered other lost souls, along the way fellow travelers trapped in the same nightmarish cycle. We exchanged desperate glances, but communication proved futile. It was as if the road had robbed us of our voices, leaving only the echo of our shared despair. As the weeks passed, my mind unraveled. I questioned the nature of reality, the sanity of my existence. The road had become a purgatory, a twisted realm that defied all reason. And then, just as suddenly as it began, the road ended. I found myself on the outskirts of a small town, the sunlight filtering through the clouds, as if to welcome me back to the realm of the living. The town's name, painted on a weathered sign, was unfamiliar, but the sense of relief was overwhelming. I parked the car, my hands trembling as I stepped onto solid ground. The town, though quaint and seemingly ordinary, held an air of unreality. As I walked the deserted streets, the echoes of the unending journey lingered, a ghostly reminder that the road I had traversed was more than just asphalt and dirt. It was a conduit to a realm where time itself twisted and contorted, trapping wayward souls in an eternal journey without end. Wanderer's Nightmare. The open road stretched before me, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through desolate landscapes. I was on a solo journey, seeking the solace of the unknown and the thrill of the unexplored. Little did I know that the vast expanse that lay ahead would become a haunting tapestry of terror. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I found myself in the heart of an isolated town. Its streets were deserted, and the buildings stood like silent sentinels, their windows reflecting the fading twilight. A single inn, with a flickering neon sign that read The Whispering Pines, beckoned me from the shadows. The lobby was dimly lit, and the air carried a musty scent that seemed to cling to the worn-out furniture. The innkeeper, an elderly man with sunken eyes, handed me an antique key without uttering a word. A chill ran down my spine as I ascended the creaking staircase to my room. The door groaned open, revealing a space frozen in time. The faded wallpaper peeled away at the edges, and the bed covers bore the stains of years gone by. Default text. As I settled in, a soft rustling sound caught my attention. I dismissed it as the wind outside, but the rustling persisted, growing louder with each passing moment. I followed the noise to a narrow closet, its door slightly ajar. Hesitant, I pushed it open to reveal a collection of moth-eaten clothes hanging in the darkness. But something else caught my eye: a weathered leather journal, tucked away on a dusty shelf. The yellowed pages held the handwritten accounts of previous travelers, their tales veering into the realm of the supernatural. The journal spoke of whispers in the night, shadows that danced on the walls, and a pervasive sense of dread that gripped those who dared to stay. Skeptical but intrigued, I returned to my bed, and the room seemed to close in around me. The air turned heavy, and an unsettling stillness settled over the inn. As the clock ticked away the hours, a soft voice whispered through the darkness. It was an indistinct murmur, like the sibilant secrets of unseen entities. I strained to understand, my heart quickening with each syllable. The whispers seemed to emanate from the very walls, an ethereal chorus that echoed in the stillness. Unable to resist the allure of the mystery, I ventured into the hallway, guided by the haunting whispers. The inn seemed to come alive with unseen presences, and the shadows warped into grotesque shapes that wreathed on the walls. The air itself pulsed with an otherworldly energy, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling. The whispers led me to a forgotten wing of the inn, a corridor hidden in the shadows. The air grew colder, and a flickering light revealed a door at the end of the hallway. I pushed it open to reveal a room untouched by time, its walls adorned with arcane symbols and strange sigils. In the center of the room, a mirror stood, its surface reflecting a distorted version of reality. As I gazed into the abyss of the mirror, a figure materialized, an ethereal spectre that mirrored my every movement. Its eyes held a profound sadness, a reflection of the countless souls trapped in the limbo between worlds. The whispers crescendoed into a chilling symphony, and the figure in the mirror reached out, its translucent fingers brushing against the glass. Panic surged through me as I stumbled backward, the room warping and distorting. The very fabric of reality seemed to unravel, and the whispers transformed into anguished wails that reverberated through the inn. With a jolt, I found myself back in my room, the whispers fading into the distance. The inn had returned to its silent facade, but the mirror in the forgotten wing held a lingering imprint of the spectral encounter. As I left the town the next morning, the memories of the haunting whispers and the spectral reflection clung to me like a shroud, a traveller forever haunted by the unknown. The endless journey. The road stretched out before me like an endless ribbon of asphalt, disappearing into the desolate horizon. I had been driving 4 hours, guided only by the pale glow of my headlights and the rhythmic hum of the engine. The radio crackled with static, the only companion in this desolate stretch of highway. The journey had begun as a simple road trip, a solo adventure to escape the monotony of everyday life. But as the miles blurred together, a creeping unease settled in the pit of my stomach. The landscape seemed to shift subtly, trees and landmarks repeating in an uncanny loop, as if time itself had twisted into a distorted reality. Ignoring the growing sense of dread, I pressed on, determined to reach the next town on the map. The flickering streetlights cast eerie shadows that danced along the edges of my vision, playing tricks on my fatigued mind. As the darkness deepened, a fog rolled in, shrouding the road in an impenetrable mist. I slowed down, squinting through the windshield, trying to discern the outlines of the road ahead. The fog thickened, and the world outside my car became a formless void. Panic set in as I realized I couldn't see the road markings, and the only sound was the muffled thud of my own heartbeat. A figure emerged from the mist, its silhouette flickering in and out of focus. I slammed on the brakes, my heart pounding. The figure stood in the middle of the road, motionless. As I strained to see its face, a cold shiver crawled down my spine. The figure had no features. A faceless spectre standing in the ethereal fog. Fear gripped me as I contemplated whether to turn back or continue forward. The figure beckoned with an outstretched arm, a gesture that seemed to defy the laws of the natural world. Against my better judgment, I inched the car forward, the figure retreating into the mist. The road seemed to stretch on forever, the same monotonous scenery repeating in a disorienting loop. The fog clung to the car like a spectral passenger, distorting reality as I navigated the shape-shifting landscape. The radio, now tuned to an unfamiliar frequency, emitted a haunting melody that echoed through the emptiness. The hours melted away, and exhaustion weighed heavy on my shoulders. My surroundings became a surreal nightmare, an endless tapestry of fog, faceless figures, and the dissonant melody that seemed to seep into my very soul. I longed for an exit, a sign that I hadn't become trapped in this otherworldly purgatory. As dawn approached, the fog lifted, revealing a desolate town on the horizon. Relieved, I navigated toward the flickering lights, desperate for a respite from the endless road. The town, however, seemed frozen in time, its dilapidated buildings and deserted streets echoing with a haunting silence. I parked the car in the town square, the engine sputtering to a stop. The once welcoming glow of daylight now cast long shadows that seemed to reach out from every corner. I stepped out, the air heavy with an oppressive stillness. A distant whisper echoed through the empty streets, the voices of the faceless figures now replaced by an unsettling hush. As I explored the abandoned town, I realized the buildings held a dark secret. Faded photographs and forgotten belongings hinted at lives interrupted, dreams left unfulfilled. The town itself seemed suspended in a perpetual twilight, a ghostly reflection of a reality that had ceased to exist. With a sinking feeling, I understood that the road had not brought me to a destination, but had ensnared me in a never-ending journey. The endless ribbon of asphalt stretched out before me once more, inviting me to continue the drive into the unknown, where the fog and faceless figures awaited, ready to guide the next traveller into the realm of perpetual twilight.